Get a good look, honey?
Allow me to present the titular body behind Body by Sheila.
That is a dynamite-looking outfit. What's that color?
Yellow.
Eyes on the prize.
I would love to expand into my own lifestyle brand.
Stick to the plan.
I want you to go out there and promote your film.
It's a videotape.
Whatever it is.
He doesn't care.
Hello, I'm Isabela Gadelha from Cena in Brazil.
Hi,
Nice
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Bella. Nice to meet you too.
Hi. Hi.
So first, congratulations, because this show is really amazing. I think it's honest, it's real, it's necessary. And my first question is for Rose. One of my favorite things in the show is Sheila's inner monologues. And I want to ask you, do you do that in real life? Did you get more self-conscious about it because of the show?
I mean, I think it's hard not to, because you do naturally reflect, even subconsciously a little bit. And like all of us, like the human condition, of just walking around with this bizarre kind of inner voice, and what it's the innate struggle of that, trying to figure out what is a real instinct and what is a bad idea, so that's it's always really fun with me to explore that. And it's very technical actually, because we really do most of the voiceovers at the end of the season, after the edit and after they put the music. It's like the final kind of texture on the show, and I love that. I'm one of those weird actors or weird beasts that I enjoy the ADR, which not everybody does. It's kind of tedious, but I like, you can fix things and it's very technical, and I've grown to really like that. And this is very much part of that. So, and it's funny. It's funny what you think in your head.
First question for you is because Sheila suffers from eating disorder, but nobody knows about it, not even her husband, who actually lives with her. My question is, what's the importance of being able to speak about it and ask for help?
Thank you so much for that question. Eating disorders really thrive in shame and secrecy, and that's kind of how they get reinforced and stay in place. So I think it's surprising to some people how much an eating disorder can be locked away in private, even from the most intimate people in your life. And in our depiction of that, I've been fortunate enough to hear a lot of feedback from people who have been touched by eating disorders, whether for themselves or people they love. And it's our depiction of it with a lot of honesty has helped people explain some of how the process works for them. And I've heard a lot of great feedback from women who feel seen by it, and also from men, because I think, women aren't the only ones who suffer from these disorders.
On season 1, Danny was not a very good husband, but in the second season, he's changing, right? He's making an effort. Do you think people can change for the better?
Absolutely. I think it's always a choice. I think everybody can make that choice. For Danny, it sort of became a necessary means, because he realized very early in the season, if he wants to save his marriage, he's got to be sort of a new person. He's got to put himself aside and actually focus on being a dad, being a husband, being supportive of his wife's business that's currently crushing it. And yeah, I think I would tell anybody, if Danny Rubin can change, we can all change.
I'm the original her. You stole from me.
No, this is my routine.
What do we say about that anger of yours?
That it's bad vibes.
Super bad vibes!
I am committed to growing my business. You have a following, but I don't have this.
Are you marching? Are you breathing?
I control my own name. I control my own business. And nobody tells me what to do or say.
So Vinny is new in the show, and he's very interesting, and I think he's really deep too. I want to ask you, what is your favorite thing about him? What do you think is going to be the response of the viewers?
I think Vinny kind of comes into the show with a bang in a way. Like he's a kind of a full-on character in a lot of ways, in the way that those sort of fitness gurus of the 80s were, like very sort of strong and kind of in your face. And so I think there's, you know, I think that's really fun. And I hope people respond to that. It's also like, it's fun and fascinating to look back at the type of personalities and the types of things that those fitness gurus were doing in the way that they did those kind of infomercials and stuff. So I think there's a sort of a nostalgic quality to that I think people will really enjoy. I hope they will really enjoy. And what's I think is brilliant about this show is the sort of the slow reveal of who these characters are beyond what our original sort of impressions of them are. And I think, you know, that's true of Vinny too, that like there's a lot going on under that sort of public facing persona that he has.
Greta, would you want to go into business with me?
I just have one condition. No more secrets?
What secrets?
Greta is definitely one of my favorite characters, and I love that she's really honest and she has no filter, which is something that I can relate to. Do you have that in common with her? Has that put you in hot water or maybe helped you in a situation?
I do. I do. I think actually it's one of the things I use most in my sense of humor, I guess. That's how it helps me. It's like, I just sometimes will say a thing I'm thinking, and then a lot of people laugh and I'm going, oh, that was funny. But I don't necessarily know that I meant it to be. I think it's just something that came out. But I looked at Greta a lot when I first got the scripts, and in season 1, I always thought of her sort of as like the funhouse mirror of Sheila. Like, she's all the things Sheila doesn't want to be, where Sheila is arm's length with people, Greta is incredibly open. Where Sheila is like calculated, Greta is like, let's just do it. I'm then not thinking. And so the most fun for me in playing this character was when I would get scenes looking at what are choices I can make that would be the most challenging for Sheila to have to like deal with this personality. So it's kind of a fun puzzle piece.
Yeah. I saw an article that you wrote that the show is very physical, it's very personal for you because you went through an eating disorder and you even called it thinking disorder. My question is, what is the biggest difficulty for you to write a character that is going through something that you went through?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I had a lot of fear at first about being honest and being vulnerable. But it's been really liberating, actually, just sharing the truth of my own struggles and sharing my journey of recovery. And it's been really a wonderful experience to be embraced by others, to be, and to hear how, you know, sharing your truth helps other people come forward too. That's been the most gratifying thing about the whole process, really.
Change is coming. Growth. But so is loss. Pain, regret.
This isn't gonna work, Sheila.
It's none of your business.
It's actually half my business.
What kind of person thinks they can behave in this way?
Are you here to work for me or to try to become me?
The show is set in the 80s, and I would like to know why the 80s? Why did you wanted to explore this period of time?
Well, I was really interested in exploring kind of the hinge of the 70s turning into the 80s. So this time of transition in America from a more liberal time to a more conservative time. And it was 40 years ago, but we're seeing a very similar change today. And it really tracks my own childhood in Southern California in the time period, and watching my parents shift from a more liberal mindset of activism to a more conservative mindset of capitalism. And I was just interested in exploring that hinge and that time of change.
And I mean, the show is set in the 80s, but a lot of things have changed since then, but others haven't much, like men like Danny, for example. Do you think that men can learn a lot from your character? Do you think he's a good wake-up call to men like him?
I would like to think so. I would like to think that even Danny at his worst moments, when he is very egotistical, and in season 1, when he was speaking politically, I still think even then he had some pretty great points about his view of what he thought the world should be, and the equality and the environment, and the issues that I think a lot of us can get behind. But I'd like to believe that people could watch the show and see this second season and go, oh yeah, it's not just important to outwardly say society needs to change and be better. It's important for you to be the catalyst of that change. And I'd like to think season 2 presents that sort of character. And if I found at the end of the day that men watched this show and they felt enlightened and changed, and the need to maybe wake up and be a little bit better of a person, that would be awesome.
Sheila's rocket ship is about to take off.
I'm tired of playing defense.
So what's your goal? Reciprocity or retribution?
Annihilation.
What if you could, you both, meet your character? What would you say? What would you ask them a question, or would you give them advice?
Ooh, if I had to meet Sheila, I don't know. She's pretty uptight.
Yeah, you and she are pretty different.
Yeah, she's what would I ask her?
I would tell Greta, take a breath, babe. Chill.
Yeah.
Like, calm down. Everything's gonna be fine. But Greta would probably tell me the same thing. So
if you could talk to Danny, what would you do? Would you ask him a question or give him an advice?
I don't know. I think I would. I think that I've always tried to figure out what's the line between who Danny is and who I am as a person, and what do we have in common. And I think not only is it something that he and I have in common, I think it's something everybody has in common, is you kind of wonder who you are and what's next. And you wonder what it is you think and what it is you believe that inspires you to be who you want to be or who you're going to be. And this season was so exciting for, to get to play this character, because he's really at a crossroads where he doesn't have an answer. He doesn't have some sort of viable job that's like on the horizon. He doesn't necessarily know how to be a dad because he hasn't done it before. And, sadly, he has to find out some things about Sheila that, I'm sure he's devastated to find out. But yeah, I'd like to think that the similarities are this question mark that we all have, wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I being a good person? Am I making the right choices? For me and him, that's definitely our great.
And what soundtrack do you put when you want to get physical? What's on your playlist?
My playlist?
Kylie Minogue.
Oh yes,
I love a bit of old Kylie, bit of new Kylie. Yeah, she's my go-to.
That recent Kylie album is
love
really
that recent disco album.
I love, actually, I work out to disco too, because it always has a good pace if you keep up with it. So I also very much like disco.
Oh my God. Wow. A lot of disco, I have to say. Thelma Houston. I mean, I guess those big sort of disco divas of the time. Some of my favorites. Yeah. Thelma Houston, Diana Ross, like those, disco divas.
I'm missing you. Amazing.
Too long. I was starting to worry that
Relax. I mean, you think they'd sell these things if they weren't safe?
Yeah, that makes sense.